my entry point into AI is really through my background in geopolitics. I was always fascinated in people, power, very quickly changing world. And I used to work with global leaders on emerging technology, so people like the former Secretary General of NATO, former VP Joe Biden. And it was back in 2017, 2016, where I'd always kind of been interested in how technology was emerging as a macro force shaping geopolitics, but also the individual experience of billions of citizens around the world, that I really started to see how AI's capabilities, which until this point had been in the domain for rather obscure researchers and academics, including researchers and academics, of course, within Google, that we started seeing how quickly it was evolving, that I decided to go fully into AI research. And the kind of AI that I was interested in is now what's become known as generative AI. So before the term was even coined, I was fascinated in it because I believe that this technology is going to be the technology that changes human experience, that changes human society. And of course, that intuition is now proving to be true as we see how widely AI is being deployed and start to ponder the consequences of artificial intelligence in reshaping our experience of what it means to be human. I think you just have to start somewhere, right? Because the principle is continuous learning. No single person, no single entity can have a complete comprehension of something as all-encompassing, a general meta-technology like AI. And it doesn't matter if you're a technical person or an engineer, so you're focusing more on delivering and building products, or if you work more on the content and marketing side, or if you're looking at it from a philosophical perspective, because AI as a kind of meta technology is going to touch every part of our lives. So back yourself, look at what you're interested in, how does AI fit into that, and then just start using AI, working with AI tools to understand the limitations and the capabilities. And I think just really lean in, because this is going to be an era of disruption, of innovation, of continuous change. And those of us who have the mindset where we understand that it is going to be a quickly evolving landscape, I think we're going to be the ones who are best placed to navigate this era of exponential change. So I think fundamentally we have to think about what's happening with AI as really getting to the core pursuit of intelligence, right? And the idea that only biological entities like humans can imbue intelligence, in my view, is a hubristic one. We're starting to see, again, if you think about intelligence simply as the ability to process a lot of data and then to make decisions, we're starting to see machines being increasingly intelligent. I think we're only at the very beginning of a seismic intelligence revolution. This infrastructure of intelligence, the kind of AI tech stack, is already being woven into the daily reality of our lives. So we're only at the very beginning of a story, which I think has many more chapters in its evolution. And when you think about positive applications, I mean, honestly, the answer to that is how long is a piece of string? Because if you have machine intelligence able to augment human intelligence and to apply that to some of humanity's greatest challenges, from food security to sustainability in the environment, to global health populations, to things like drug discovery, all of a sudden we're looking at an era where things that were so beyond the human imagination start to become possible. So on the positive applications, it's really groundbreaking. In my perspective, the biggest challenges have to do with disruption and pace of change. So the fact that this is happening so quickly. We as a society have already been struggling to deal with what the computing revolution has meant for us, right? And the associated technologies that have come from computing, the internet, the PC, the smartphone, cloud. there's been a huge transition in how we structure our society, in how we work, in how we deliver value, in how we experience what it means to be human. Often when we think about technologies, general technologies like computing or AI, we think that they are only tools and products for us to use. But in reality, if you look at the history of general technologies, we also become products of these technologies because they change us on a biological, anatomical level. A good example of that is the invention of fire. When humanity was able to capitalize on the power of fire, we completely changed the way we structure our society. Our digestive tracts changed because of the way that we cooked and consumed food. And now looking at, for instance, even just computing, we still don't even know what this digital ecosystem has done to us as a species, right? And I'm sure that it has an impact on how we think, on how we live, on how we experience what to be human. The same is going to be true for artificial intelligence. So understanding the pace and scale and understanding how this is going to touch upon every aspect of human society, I think that is one of the most profound challenges. But in this disruption, there is both risk and huge opportunity. I think Google plays an absolutely central role in the evolution of AI. We know that because of the huge steps forward in the past decade. I mean, some of them literally ground zero innovations have been pioneered at Google, from the work that we see at Google DeepMind on some of the things like AlphaZero, protein folding, to the innovation on large language model. Google has been at ground zero and will continue to play a huge role because, of course, what we're starting to see now with the fact that these capabilities are being woven into the digital ecosystem is that Google is a hyperscaler. It's going to provide the platform. It's going to provide some of the critical and vital infrastructure. And as we start deploying these capabilities, Google has a huge role to play in terms of making sure the deployment is ethical, transparent, and that it's leading on things like data integrity. So Google, with a few others, is central from the very inception of AI and will continue to be in how it evolves and how it's deployed. I think that going forward, we have to completely change our perception of machine intelligence. And although there's been so much fear around automation, right, that AI is going to replace us, humans will always have something of value to add to society, but we will be living alongside increasingly capable machine systems that will be able to integrate into almost any intelligent, creative endeavor that we set our minds to. So the model is going to be one of mixed autonomy. Right? We will be working with these increasingly capable systems. And those of us who adapt to this reality, we're going to have a huge, huge advantage. One brilliant example of that is in drug discovery. So if you even consider Google's DeepMind's model, AlphaFold, this set itself a hugely interesting challenge. Basically, proteins are the biological building force for everything in the world. And understanding the structure of proteins is extremely complex. Before AI was in the equation, it would take, a PhD researcher maybe 5 to 7 years to understand the single structure of one protein. But with something like AlphaFold, an AI model which has been trained on lots and lots of data, Google was able to determine the structure of 270 million proteins through that single model. So basically uncovering the structure of everything known in the biological world. So if you combine that knowledge and human knowledge and start deploying this into drug research, I mean, the possibilities for things like finding a cure for cancer, building an enzyme that can eat plastics that are littering our oceans is, again, limitless. But the key here is this model of mixed autonomy. So my first piece of advice to business leaders is lean in. this isn't hype. This is here. It's not coming in 10 years. It's not coming in 5 years. It's already happening now. So understand, first of all, hypothetically, what is happening with AI, what its capabilities are, and how this is practically already impacting your industry, because it impacts every industry. The second piece of advice is be very careful about who you work with, because all of the questions around ethical data, ethical use cases, being transparent is really going to matter. So choose your partners wisely and lean in. And don't think that you can have knowledge of everything, right? This is evolving so quickly. So build your strategy, but also be aware that this is evolving at an exponential rate. So when it comes to omnichannel retail, I think the really exciting use case is how the physical and the digital world can meld. So we're already starting to see really interesting applications of AI in e-commerce with regards to branding, to marketing, to telling a story. But ultimately, what are we seeing? People still want to have experiences in real physical locations. So combining that digital experience with an in-store experience, perhaps through an avatar that can generate how a certain outfit will look on you, that's just one use case. I think it's the coming together of the digital and the physical, because both are going to matter going forward. What I am most excited about is that we are living in an era which I think is the most interesting in all of human history. I think that in our lifetime, we are going to experience more exponential tech-led change than the entirety of humanity that came before us. Now, that offers real potential for innovation, to think differently, to be able to tackle some of humanity's most pressing challenges in a way that simply wasn't even permissible or imaginable in just the generation before us. So I'm most excited about humanity's potential in the age of AI. Whatever happens, it is one of the most interesting times to be alive, and I am really up for that.